Welcome to an additional update as we are seeing that the markets are crashing. So we're going to look at a few altcoins, we're going to analyze what's happening in the markets right now, and we're going to look at Bitcoin and ETH and the two altcoins that I've been discussing yesterday in the update, Litecoin and XRP, that are still looking interesting at this point, but of course have seen some pain with the markets showing some bad momentum, and the sentiment has shifted towards a thesis where the markets are dead. So that's what we're going to look at. Make sure to like these YouTube updates, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you do enjoy the content. Make sure to join our public Discord where you can also test our premium for 1 week for free. And we're just a few weeks away from a few cool things that we're going to announce. The course is going to go live within a few weeks from now, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, when we're looking at the markets, there is a certain, and that's just the update of today, there's a certain uncertainty which is driving retail investors into a case that altcoins are dead. What do we know? We do know that that there is a project, OkiDAO, that has been called, that the DAO itself is actually an entity. So we can classify the entire DAO as an entity, and that is pushing the markets down at this point. Secondly, we've got a case where the SEC is suing Binance and Coinbase for trading unregistered securities. That itself is pushing down some specific altcoins at this point, as we can see that Cardano, Solana, Avalanche, everything has been collapsing over the weekend, and that has been pushing the prices down by 30%. They are not classified unregistered securities yet. The court has to rule whether or not they are. We are mostly focused on what is happening in the US at this point, but what we can also see is that the Middle East, Asia are all really progressive onto crypto. So you could say that this entire correction is a little bit unwarranted, in which we are having an overextended move towards the altcoins. We can also see that altcoins are retesting their lows again, or even making new lows and taking the liquidity there, approaching into a massive week with CPI, with the Fed, with XRP and the lawsuit on the 13th of June going to take place. That is going to define where we're going to go to. If XRP is not classified as a security, you could argument that we're going to have a case where most cryptocurrencies are not classified as securities, and I think Bitcoin in itself is a commodity overall. So that is what we are looking at into a massive week here. Now, what we're looking at in terms of the markets, we can definitely say that we needed to hold above a crucial indicator, which is the 200-week MA and EMA for the total market cap. Right now we are not. So we are definitely in the case of having a breakout back above is what we must see in the coming few weeks. If we are not having that, we can definitely argument that we're going to have a retest and the markets are going to drop low. So then Bitcoin at 20k is not a weird statement to make. However, what we see on social media right now is that people are definitely sure that the markets are dead. But if you look at the entire scope, indices making new all-time highs, commodities ranging at highs, the dollar trying to reverse soon again, especially with this week coming up, yields most likely going to reverse too, and crypto is the one that's lagging behind, so there's still something to gain. What we also know is that 1 year prior to the actual halving, we can see that altcoins are usually bottoming out. And in this case, we've seen that in July 2016, the bottoming process took place in October 2015. That was the low with a big wick. As you can see, if we zoom in a little bit more, big wick, bottoming process, and then we started the uptrend, which is approximately 10 months prior to the halving. Here we see that in July 2019, we've had the actual bottom on the orders chart, which is the market cap orders dominance. And we've seen that the halving took place around June, in which this is also approximately 10 to 11 months prior. Now we've got a cascade again, and we're still facing a potential weekly bullish divergence on the altcoins, through which we are again in June, approximately 11 months before the halving is going to take place, which means that somewhere in this area, we've marked this zone. We're currently in the first one. The second level is still approximately 15% lower. We're going to bottom out on the altcoins, have a period of consolidation, and then we are going to continue. Right now we are having that overextended move on the markets, reacting to what's been happening. There is no liquidity in the markets at all. So when we're looking at specific altcoins, we can see that they have been reacting in a very strong manner. So for instance, Binance Coin, I did the evaluation video earlier for the premium members, in which I said, okay, we need to reclaim the area of 270 in order to prevent ourselves from a market breakdown. We did have this market breakdown, and now we're looking at potentially taking this liquidity beneath the low here for Binance Coin before we are most likely going to reverse. So I'm looking at bids in this range if we're going to get that. Overall, what we can see on all the markets is that altcoins are getting heavily sold off. So the RSI are reaching levels we've only seen before in the case of the COVID 2020 crash. We've seen it here during the Luna crash. So that is where the sentiment is right now, especially if you're looking at things like Cardano against USDT. You can definitely see that prices are currently showing us a cascade downwards, in which we are back towards the levels that we have been acting in 2022. And we can also argument that the RSI is reaching lowest numbers, including the Bitcoin pairs, as those are getting sold off massively here too. Doesn't say that we are getting into a bottoming procedure, but given the sentiment, given the regulatory framework, that uncertainty on the regulatory framework, we are definitely getting there. Now, what are we looking at when we look at Ether? We are looking at a case where Ether is currently swimming beneath support. So this entire area of 1785 is something we need to sustain on. Otherwise, we're going to look at a case that I think we are going to retest the area around $1,600 and then have the reversal taking place. There are two levels here that I'm looking at for potential bounces. If we clear a reject from 1785 downwards, if we are able to reclaim this zone, that is a good sign, but that is really surely looking for some serious momentum from the markets, and I think right now we don't see it. Another one is Chainlink, which I have been accumulating some more in the current market, as we are currently reaching $5.20. We are beneath the low of this entire range. Could become deviation if we reclaim the level again. We've had a massive wick taking place, and yes, I said between $6 to $8 is an opportunity of a lifetime. People are making fun of me right now as the price is at $5, but that's ultimately just a case where you can start including some more money into your portfolio, or at least in your thesis, as it's also reaching RSI levels that we have not seen only in the COVID 2020 crash and in the Luna crash in May 2022 and right now. So probably we're going to have that sideways boring period on the markets before we start to take the liquidity on the upside, because especially if we're looking at the funding rates and the open interest, the funding rates are getting into a negative state on all altcoins. Cardano is on a mega negative run right now in terms of funding rates, and that's usually when people are massively shorting altcoins, through which there is liquidity enough to reverse that. We can also see it on Litecoin, we can also see it on XRP, we can also see it on BNB, so that is not a great sign for the markets in terms of perspective, but it shows you that the markets are looking at a case where we most likely continue to fall, but people are eager to short. Now when we're looking at Litecoin, I stated that I think that we're still going to have the halving rally here, and we're just consolidating. We've took the low. I think that if we are going to have a reversal taking place, this is the range that we're looking at, perhaps towards $70 to $73. If that is going to be the case, then I think that we're going to have a quick, swift rally back up, but that needs to be done through Bitcoin breaking back above 26.1. Ultimately, I'm still a buyer of Litecoin at this point, and I think that we're still just having a regular correction here. The second one that I'm looking at is XRP, which is currently just consolidating. The case is going to take place in the next week, and the result of that will probably break XRP above the highs and start a massive rally across markets, or we're going to have a crash towards the lows. That's just ultimately what's happening. If we look at this from a technical standpoint, we can see that XRP is definitely the strongest, as we have only got barely a correction over the week, as the week is just going flat on XRP. Finally, when we're looking at Bitcoin, I think that we are looking at a case that we're going to have another swift move. I said earlier that 26.1 is the case where we need to break through. So we are swimming at the lows and we are finding ourselves into resistance at 26.1. If this takes place, that is where you want to dip yourself into long entries, because people are technically looking at shorts at this point. If we are having a sweep at 25k, we're dipping ourselves into the higher time frame zone. Reclaiming above 25.5 is the trigger for continuation. That's the extra update for today. I'll be back on Tuesday with the Bitcoin update. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, join our Discord. There will be cool giveaways. Have a great day. Ciao.